You are an amazing parent. Even though you might be doing things wrong, we're all doing things wrong. That's just the truth. It's not about shaming ourselves for doing those things wrong. It's just about accepting, forgiving ourselves for how we're acting and choosing to change just because we want to be better. Do you discipline your child's behavior? And do you discipline your child's behavior but not search for what's causing that behavior in the first place? And then do you also rationalize why you discipline because you say that it's for your child's own good? We're going to talk about all of this stuff and more while reviewing Chapter 3 of Out of Control by Dr. Shefali Tsabary, all coming up in this video. Ain't that right, Lincoln?
Yo, look.
Yeah, right. Let's go.
Peace.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ethan. I am a single dad to this little dude over here. His name is Lincoln Love, and I have been for almost 2.5 years. And today in this video, we're talking about everything that I mentioned before, but we're reviewing chapter number 3 of Out of Control by Dr. Shefali Tsabary, and it's titled, Is It Really for Your Child's Own Good? This chapter was profound for me for multiple reasons, most of which I talked before, but those are all things that I do with Lincoln. Like, I discipline his behavior, but I don't look for the feeling that's under there. And I choose to correct instead of connect. And that is a huge distinction which we're going to talk about as well in this video, because oftentimes we choose to try to just correct the behavior of our children without actually connecting to them. And when we only try to correct, we're really telling them that, hey, your feelings are not valid, you're not valid. All that really matters is how you make me look. And when we give that message to our parents or our children, usually it ends up being, I hate you, I hate my life, which ends up turning to I hate myself. All self-loathing, their self-worth drops, their self-esteem drops, all that kind of stuff drops because of the discipline that we're implying. Let's just get right into it. It starts by really talking about, is it really for a child's own good? Because we rationalize and we justify our behavior that it's for their good. My discipline, my anger, my punishing, my taking away, my grounding, my threatening, my childlike tantrum, I justify and I say it's for my child's own good because he has to learn or he has to do this. And so we justify these ideals in our minds mainly because we have this false idea of what they should be, who they should be, and how they should be acting. And when they don't meet that, well, we take control of them. And we try to discipline, we try to punish, we try to do all of those things, and we justify that it's for our child's own good just because we want them to act a certain way. But the truth is we have to and must ask the question, is what we're doing really for our child's own good? Is hitting, is punishing, is taking away, is disciplining, is all of these techniques that we can learn and we have probably had and experienced in our own lives, are those things good, and are those things that we really want our children to experience? And there's a beautiful example that was pretty powerful and explains kind of just how damaging these ideals can be. Just how damaging this can be is evident in an incident in which a mother was jailed for a minimum of 17 years because she beat her 7-year-old son to death, then set fire to his body. The judge explained that it was the child's failure to learn passages of a holy book that had been assigned to him that resulted in the beating that caused his death. Speaking directly to the mother, he continued, "You had kept him home from school so that he could devote himself to his study, which involved memorizing passages." The judge added, "The cause of this beating was your unreasonable view that he wasn't learning passages quickly enough. How many other children have been beaten because they failed to learn something either at home or at school?" The 7-year-old's mother clearly held a subconscious agenda that caused her to believe it was necessary to beat him if he was to learn by agenda. I mean, what's really going on beneath our surface actions and statements? Her attachment to an idealized image of herself as a good mother who taught her son her faith caused her to lose touch with the reality of his age, capacity for memorization, and perhaps interest. It kind of just goes to show like how deeply attached these idealizations of how a child should be, could be, or who we want them to be can be so powerful and so detrimental, and how they're causing us to really screw and damage our children. And in simple ways of just like, if we think that our child shouldn't be a certain way, so we spank them or we hit them or we punish them or we take things away or we ground them or we discipline. It's the same kind of thing, because we think that our child should be a certain way instead of just accepting that our child is this way and acting this way in this moment. And she talks about how most of that discipline, most of that stuff comes forth because it's just a problem that the parents don't know what else to do to get their child to act in line. That's really all that it is that oftentimes the parents, we are at our wits' end and we don't know what to do to get our children to act the way that we want them to do. And so what we tend to do is we discipline their behavior, we discipline them to get them there instead of first connecting with the child. And that is something that she goes on talking about next, is really taking the time to connect with our child before we correct or before we have those teaching moments. Because really in that moment, the child is acting out. The child is crying, is throwing a tantrum, is saying I hate you, or saying something along those lines. It's acting in some sort of way that you don't like. And unfortunately, we as parents, we take that as surface level. We take that as this is how they're acting, so we must punish their behavior to get them in line. But we don't look at how they're feeling. We don't look at what's causing them to act that way in the first place. And I do this all the time. Like I do this all the time with little man. It's like he'll throw a tantrum, and then I'll try to discipline his behavior of throwing the tantrum without first looking at, well, what caused the tantrum? Is he hungry? Is he tired? Is he upset? Is he just trying to get my attention? Is he needing love? Is he wanting something and trying to look for something and can't find it? Is he feeling frustrated? What is happening inside of him that I can first connect with? And once I can find the real issue, well, the behavior will just go away. That's how it works. Instead, if we discipline the behavior, well, we're just going to keep on creating the behavior over and over and over and over and over, because it's not really tackling that root issue. The way that I like to imagine it is like a tree and a root. The tree is what we see, right? Oh, like when you walk through a park, you see the tree, you see the leaves, you see this the stem, you see the trunk, and you see the leaves, the branches, all that kind of stuff. That's what you see on the surface. But what you don't see is the roots that are underneath the ground that are really giving that tree life and giving that tree nutrients and really helping that tree anchor and grow. So much like our children, we only see their actions, we only see the behaviors, but what we don't see is their feelings. And when we don't acknowledge how they feel, when we don't look at how they feel, when we don't try to find why they're feeling that way to cause the behavior in the first place, then we're never really going to solve the issue in the first place. And so what she talks about is connecting and then learning. So always when your child is acting in a behavior, is take the time to connect to your child. If the time is too soon and you can't connect to your child right away, then take space. If your child's too angry, you're upset, is take space and then come back and connect to your child. Try to find out, are you hungry? Are you tired? Do you need something to eat? Was school hard? Are you being bullied in school? What's going on at school? What's going on? All these things. And she used the example of a let's say 16-year-old daughter that comes home. She comes home from school and you guys get into an argument because she's not doing something right, and she says, I hate you. And so in that moment, like the parent will be like, they'll make it mean something about themselves, which is a huge mistake as well. It's like, what do you mean you hate me? Like, what? You can't hate me? Like, rah, 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 you're grounded. I'm gonna take away all this stuff and you're just gonna discipline. You're gonna stay home for a week. You're not gonna do this. You're not gonna have your phone. Give me your phone, whatever the case might be, right? Well, we made that moment mean something about us when it had nothing to do with us, because did you know that she's being bullied at school? Did you know that she's feeling an immense amount of anxiety for this huge test coming up that doesn't feel ready for? Did you know that she just broke up with her boyfriend? Did you know that all of this stuff happened? No, but you just disciplined that behavior because that's how she acted, and that wasn't okay. So too often we're making things as parents mean something about us when it has nothing to do with us and everything to do with them. And so that's really what she talks about, what she describes, is looking for these root problems and these root causes of the behavior. And she talks about how when we just discipline the behavior, we're just creating more of that behavior anyways. So if we're disciplining a child for, let's say, sneaking out at night, and then we discipline, we ground, we whatever, we make them feel, and we don't acknowledge their feelings, we don't probe for that deeper issue, we don't even look and care about their feelings, we just discipline them for that behavior, well, they're more likely, because now they get the message that, hey, you're not good enough, you're doing this wrong, you're criticizing every one of their faults or everything that they're doing wrong. So now they feel criticized and all that kind of stuff, which makes them feel worse as a person and as a little kid. And so now that they feel worse, now that their self-esteem is lower, now that all that stuff has happened, now they're less likely to change that behavior. They're more likely to actually do it. Just like how if you as the parent, let's say you're going to go into work, and you went into work and you had one of those meetings with your boss calls you in the office, oh, I need to talk to you about this. How do you feel in the beginning? Of like, you feel scared, you feel nervous because you're gonna get critiqued, you're gonna get judged, you're gonna get told you're doing something wrong, and that never feels good, does it? But yet we do this to our kids constantly. We do this to our kids almost every single day, and that's not okay. Every single day, and that's not okay. And so how would it feel to walk into a meeting and be heard, be understood, be listened to of why you feel this way, what's happening in your life that's causing you to work this way or to act this way at work or this behavior to happen, and really dive to the deep issue and be heard and be seen and be loved? Well, you're more likely to change all of those behaviors and perform better as an employee, instead of being like, oh, I hate my job and I wish that the company valued me more, when the fact is that, well, what comes up for me is you need to value yourself more. So it was just an interesting chapter in how we rationalize our behaviors for a child's own good, just so that we don't have to look at what we're doing. You know, I think we do this everywhere in life. It's part of the ego trap. That's all it is. It's just like, oh, I'm doing this right, even though it might not actually be right, but we're gonna say it's right just because then we don't have to look at where we're wrong and open that door. And also it was pretty profound too, because what I mentioned before was just like how we never really look at the child's surface or what's deeper than just the surface level behavior. And this is something that I'm constantly working on with Lincoln now. Is like, okay, if he's throwing a tantrum, okay, how can I first connect with him? That's the goal of me. Whenever he's in a tantrum, whenever he's upset, whenever something is going awry, I am now looking, and my first step is always looking to how can I connect with him at this level. So first I'm like, hey, you're angry, and I'm like, can I accept his feelings? Yes, I can accept that he's angry, I can accept that he's sad, I can accept all this stuff. Awesome, I accept it. Can I get on his level? Can I show him that I understand how he feels? Can I be like, hey, you're angry, I see that you're angry, or I see that you're sad. Awesome, I do that. Then I get with him, I help him kind of like navigate that feeling or navigate what's going on, and when I have the chance to connect with him and actually be present with him, then I can teach him, then I can show him, hey, how could you have just done this, or could you do this, or could you do that, or change and teach then, but only after connection happens. Don't just try to correct. You gonna go fish? Cool, dude, go fish. You want to go and fish up here? Because like so many times we try to just correct the behavior, but that's never really what's there. It's never really what's working. And when we can engage with our children, I think there was what she said in this book, and I'll leave it at that, is, where is it? The issue isn't whether to discipline or how to discipline, but whether we are really engaging with our children. And that's just huge. So it's not a question of how to discipline or how to get them to listen or how to get them to act better. It's a question, I believe, of whether or not we're actually engaging with our children for where they are and who they are in that moment. So just really, really profound. And if I could take away and share one thing from this for you, a takeaway to start beginning to implement, is to begin to look for and ask yourself, whenever your child is throwing a tantrum or throwing something or doing some sort of behavior, what is deeper that is causing that behavior to happen in the first place? Usually it's something around self-worth, usually it's something around how they're feeling, and look and probe for those feelings and choose to genuinely connect with your child. So much love. It was such a good book, and I can't wait for chapter number 4. Cool, so that's the end of the video. I'm not sure where it cut out, but we're just going to leave it there. So much love from us to you, and remember that you are an amazing parent. Even though you might be doing things wrong, we're all doing things wrong. It's just the truth. It's not about shaming ourselves for doing those things wrong. It's just about accepting, forgiving ourselves for how we're acting and choosing to change just because we want to be better. No point in shaming yourself, no point in doing any of that, which I can sometimes do myself. So much love. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you on another video. And bye for now. Peace.
Peace.